We are here today on, I think we're on episode 15 of the Extremely Conscious Man Journey.
1-5.
Did I nail it?
Big
I nailed
1-5.
it.
You nailed it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of like figuring out what day is it again? And the date? Where are we? Oh, 20 days out from Costa Rica. That's right. And even less for when you hop on a plane, right?
That's right. It's 14 days for me, 2 weeks.
What?
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting.
That is exciting. That is exciting. Oh, and that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about here today. Because, of course, if anybody's just joining us for the first time on this series, because episode 15 means we've done 14 of these already. We've been doing 2 a week. We've been telling the story of the Extremely Conscious Man movement and how it's all came to be. And it didn't start with a name. It didn't even start with any kind of focus or anything. It was just an intention to find truth, become better versions of ourselves, find other people on a similar journey. Felt stupid a lot of times, didn't know where to start. Probably felt like we were behind a lot of times too, which is interesting actually. We should talk about that real quick. We had one guy in our inner circle in the last week here not be able to attend our call that we do every couple weeks or so because he took a break, which was needed and we wanted him to and he wanted to.
Yeah.
But he had that feeling, hey, as though he was behind. It was really interesting to witness that from our side, wasn't it?
Yeah, totally. You dropped a voice note yesterday, almost from a place of FOMO, right? He took the time away, and he was like, "Oh, I want to listen to everybody's messages, see what I missed, and I got this assignment to do, and I feel like I'm falling behind." But as we know, he's in the exact place he needs to be at this time, and he took a conscious break, and it was much needed and deserved, and yeah, sometimes we choose during those times that we're still going to do certain things, and other times we want to completely disconnect, and that's okay, as long as it's a conscious choice.
Yeah, exactly. And it actually brings up a nice segue into what I figured we'd talk about here today, because I didn't really give you the title or anything, but of course what we're discussing is just, we're at present day now, so we're not backtracking on the story to get to here. We're here. Everybody watching this, you're getting the truth about what's going on.
Yep.
And, this guy in particular in our inner circle made a conscious choice to be able to take some time away, connect with his wife, came back, felt that little bit of like, oh, geez, I'm behind, but it was a decision. And the opposite of that is when you have this idea of how something should be going in your life, right? You create a vision, you say, I'm going this direction. And then all of a sudden you're met with an opportunity or a challenge, depending on how you look at it, to either put your head down and grind and stay focused on the vision, or recognize what's being put right in front of you and make some adjustments along the way. And that's where we are right now. Hey, man?
Where's this coming up in our lives right now? What do you mean?
Everywhere.
Yes, everywhere we are being served. No other word than describe it, but chaos right now. We're in a pivotal piece of our retreat planning, and a pivotal piece of gathering information, starting, putting together logistics, and now we've made another decision, which is an important one, because when you get to certain places, in hitting thresholds, places you've never been before. Trev and I have never organized a retreat of this scale. We did one last summer, and we were able to put it together, and it was amazing, and it turned out beautiful. And now we took on something twice the size, 3 times the budget, 4 times, 5 times the budget, wherever that lands. And, across in another part of the world, and all these different variables, right? And as we learn and we go through things, now we're at a place where we had to make some decisions where we're gonna shift, we're gonna pivot. We had a day of a little bit of stress. We allowed the stress to creep in, and we had to have some decisions and say, what are we gonna do here? And I'll maybe let you dive in a little further on details, but this is the real.
Yeah. And we'll get into the details. And I want to say too that, in the last 3-4 days, I want to say when you and I were talking, I hit a point where I I straight up just wanted to shut it all down. There was part of me saying like, we got to stop this. Like this, it's starting to affect our lives in a way that is not good. And you gave me some loving advice to say, why don't you just walk away from it for 24 hours, which I didn't really put up a lot of resistance. I might've in the past thought, no, I don't have time for that. But I did take the time and I got re-inspired, and it opened up opportunities that I think both of us knew were always there right in front of us. We just weren't looking at them. And in saying that, this is what I titled this one, Mike. This or Something Better, the new plan for Costa Rica.
Okay, I like it.
And I want to read something here. Yeah, I want to read something here, and then we can get into the details of what we've ultimately pivoted towards here. So you'll know what I'm about to read because it's on your wall as well. But other people might be hearing this for the first time. That which I seek is seeking me. I let go of how it will come to me, and I focus on my heart's desire. My higher self within me knows how to make it happen. So I just let go. I just relax and let go. Important piece there. Everything that is necessary for the fulfillment of my desires is lovingly and harmoniously drawn to me. I accept this or something better. I am ready, receptive, and grateful, and so it is. So it is.
It's funny.
How's that land for you?
The amount of times I've heard that, and I so needed to hear that today, and I didn't know you had that coming, right? It's so amazing how I love that quote. That just pulled at my heartstrings. That just literally pulled at my being. And it's such an important reminder for us right now of what we're going through. We got to a place where I think both of us, at different moments, were grabbing from our old patterns of saying, okay, no, F this, we're going to grind, we're going to figure this out. And, when we both looked at a couple days ago, when we were exhausted, we were, hitting frustration and anger points and all of these things. But then we looked at what we're doing on a daily basis too, in our own patterns and our own habits. And we said, okay, we're actually getting out of integrity here because we're speaking out loud to the world about all these magical habits and all these things that, we're promoting, that our inner circle's doing, and that we're guides of. We created this space for, and we've created this beautiful experience where we're, have this space to, again, nourish these ideas. And yet we weren't doing them wholeheartedly ourselves. We were letting them slip because we were getting caught up in the rat wheel of what we're creating and trying to control it instead of doing exactly what we just heard, which is ultimately a surrender to knowing that we're exactly where we need to be. And that, if we have the right intentions and the right desires from a heart-centered place, that the universe is going to align to exactly what needs to happen. And that's what I know you and I both do know is truth. But sometimes,
it's decades of programming. It really is. That's the thing that I think we have awareness on. And even when we talk to other people about it that have been down a similar journey or, their own journey, but something where they've spent decades operating that way, just push through, grind through it. You got another day tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be full, so stay up late. Like, the reality of what it looked like for me was I was staying up late again. I was putting the kids to bed and coming and sitting down in front of this computer and working until 11, 12. And previously, before that, I was prioritizing my sleep and making sure I was getting to bed at 10 so that I'd get a good 6 to 7 hours sleep by the time I was up for my morning routine. And that went out the window. It wasn't very long, maybe 10 days worth, but man, I noticed it, I felt it, and it led to just a breakdown straight up. You and I hopped on that one call. That was the first thing I said to you. I was like, man, we got to shut this thing down. This is going to kill me. I can't do this no more. And we just had to recognize, like you say, that, wait a second, let's just be the versions of ourselves that we committed to, because that's what this whole thing is about anyways, is when we talk to other men that are looking at what we're doing and maybe admiring from a distance or saying, wow, that's really cool, that's interesting, oh yeah, I'll come to a breath work, but they don't fully lean in. it's usually because of the same stories like we were telling ourselves over the last 10 days, which is, well, I can't slow down. I have to go harder. And what needs to be sacrificed? Well, I know I can push. I know I can sacrifice sleep. I know I can sit in front of this computer for 12 hours a day. Like, I can do it. I've done it for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
But it no longer serves me. And it doesn't actually attract or be a good example for the people that we're attracting into our lives right now, does it?
Not at all, right? We can pump out as much content, as many, show up on as many lives as we want and speak out loud. But if we're not doing it from an authentic place, it's not going to be felt. It's not going to be heard. It's not going to land as we want it to. We know that. It's true authenticity that speaks, and bringing people into our journey, which is exactly this conversation right here, is what is truly going to align the people that we want to be shoulder to shoulder with. Because those are the people that have big, audacious dreams, and yet they're not afraid to talk about the vulnerable side of things. When it is collapsing, or when you are physically collapsing because you've allowed certain parts of you to creep in, and all of the above, right? Because we're all just human. We're all facing the same challenges, but some of us decide to bury it and hide it and show up with that one face on, whereas, we're not afraid to show up with all faces on. And frankly, hope that the one that we come with is the real one as often as possible.
Yeah, we put it right on the landing page for this retreat that if you desire to have it all, you get to fill your cup first. And that became a grounding piece for both of us to remind us that we can't operate from a half full cup, because there are demands on us that are real that we just would never drop, like what our families need from us, what our the people that we're leading in our businesses are needing from us. We get to fill our cups because of the demand that is put on us. Not doing so would be selfish. That is the selfish act, is to not be the best versions of ourselves and resource ourselves and fuel ourselves, which is sleep and exercise and proper nutrition and having healthy conversations and checking in and being accountable to your word. It's very foundational, boring stuff, but this is it. This is the game.
Yeah. It's knowing when to walk away or to step away, right? And to observe and not just react, and to observe and collect ourselves and know where we need to move forward and how we need to show up for people, because otherwise we're not truly showing up for others. We're not truly serving because we're not our best selves. And so it's always a conversation, and it's new to anybody in this space, that it's not selfish to serve self first, always. And so it's a constant reminder, right? And that took us however many years to learn.
And we're still learning every single day. But it's another important reminder and reason why the community matters too, why it exists. Because, the phrase is, we can go fast alone, but we can go farther together. And it's never been more true than what we've experienced in the last 2.5 months. It's very easy to just put your nose to the grindstone and just go and not check in and have bad days and bottle it up and not talk through it. But when you do, and you recognize that you're not alone, that other people are experiencing it, that maybe people have been where you are and they've found ways to get through it, not to avoid it, because we're not here to avoid pain. We're here to lean into it. In fact, that's one of the things that I think's landed most for us in the last little bit, is this idea of being comfortable. Like, that's not what we want in our lives, is it? Like, this ordinary life, this comfortable life. Neither one of us is desiring to sit on a beach and drink margaritas all day. Like, to me, that feels like slow death.
Yeah.
It's not living.
It's not. It's as I've shared with you many times, it's my biggest fear. And it's funny you bring that up. I was thinking about this, I don't know why, a few days ago, vacations. I was thinking about vacations and how, if I think about it, technically we haven't taken like a vacation out of the country in a good few years. And yet, like, I haven't really thought of that consciously. And I think that's because of the lives we're living. I don't feel I need a vacation from it. I truly have drive and passion in my life, right? And it was interesting when that struck me. I remember my old self in jobs that I used to be in and ways I used to operate, rather. That's the more important piece of being like, oh man, I can't effing wait to get away for a week, and which I would go and drink and do unhealthy things anyways for a week, probably be more tired when I got back in those days. But the reality is, honestly, it hit me, and I was like, it was such a comforting sign to me that I'm living a life that I truly don't need a break from. Even though by a count of hours, which I don't count, if I were to, I'm working probably more than I used to. But it's in areas and having discussions like this and serving people and, having these high vibe conversations that fire me up. And I am then able to go into my family and be more present, and they're happier as a result. We're all happier and the interactions are better. And, it's not a need, even though it's something experientially that of course we're going to do. And of course I want to have my boys on a beach, go see Mickey and Minnie and all those fun things. But it just hit me, and it was a very neat feeling, in fact, instead of being like, oh shit, we got to sort something out. I need to find $6,000 to take the family on a vacation. None of that arrived. It was, yeah, we've done exactly what we need in the times we needed, and mini staycations and having time with the fam. But yeah,
there's no desire to escape. And I think it'd be easy to just kind of skip over that and go, oh, that's a good revelation to have. But no, like, that's a big deal. Like, I know for me, I was programmed like that for many, many years. And even as you and I talk to different guys and stuff too, about what we're up to and what we're doing and these retreats that we're creating and all that kind of stuff, we do hear that quite a bit. Oh, I'd really like to, but I got to plan for the Disneyland vacation. So I certainly couldn't fit both of those in. And while there are life responsibilities and budgets to consider and all that kind of stuff, decades can go by where you haven't taken any time for yourself and instead have focused all your energy on those vacations, which we had one of the guys in our inner circle do the Disneyland trip recently. And he was very consciously aware heading into that it was going to be a stressful couple of days. Like, there's a lot of energy going on when you go into those places. There's meltdowns with kids happening everywhere. The food's not the best at those places. Like, there's plenty of opportunities to have breakdown, but he was keeping us updated as he was going and just talking about how magical the experience was of just being there and witnessing his daughter walk up to her favorite characters and stuff. And I don't know how many people go on vacations and have experiences like him, but I think a lot of them probably go and think that, I'm doing this for my kids. And then they show up and the whole time it's just a big stress ball, and they go back to their lives and they feel like crap. They feel absolutely drained. And now they're back to the grind, saving for the next vacation. And that's not, I personally, that's not something I ever wanted to do. And so I'm figuring out ways to do both. I get to, take time for me and take my kids to Disneyland, because it is a part of being a father, right? We get to take our kids on these experiences that sometimes are maybe not as fun as as like what we have planned in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
But it's all perspective.
Another part to note on that is I loved in his preparation. This is someone who's connected online, does online work, and is, has a lot of clients to serve, as well as other pieces online. And he planned well in advance to make sure he could leave his laptop at home up until, minutes before he left to get stuff done. And he's never, ever done that. And so that was really impressive to see the consciousness behind that, to say, no, I'm going for this week and I am going to be present with my daughter. And that's what delivers those special moments that he shared with us, right? In seeing his daughter light up when I think it was Goofy came along and they held hands and walked down the cobblestone, and it was so cute to watch. And because the reality is, if he had other things on his mind, that's something he could have missed. If he was checking an email on his phone, or if he was, that's the difference on pieces like that as well. But so yeah, it's important, but those are family moments that are important, but so are our self trips and, self dates. I know that's one that in a book we both are reading called The Artist's Way. That's become obvious to us as well, in creating that time for ourselves in our lives, consistently.
Yeah, we're not always wired to consciously make this time or to make it a priority. And to speak specifically, because I know we're going to wrap here pretty quick, we want to keep these to like 20 minutes, but what Mike and I ultimately decided to do here in the last couple of days is to start breaking down the days that we have for our 5-day retreat into individual days, so that primarily, mostly people that are local here, there may be people coming from out of town that might come to a day or two, but that would be very rare. I expect that we'll still get a few people that'll fly in or drive in from some distance, but in most cases they would stay for the full 5 days. But we've broken it down into individual days, and the days are so powerful. Hey, Mike, like the way that they're structured, like we put a lot of work into the facilitators and the activities. And maybe just speak to it quickly, Mike, and what's firing you up about this.
To me, it's super exciting because we had people locally that were fired up, and they just couldn't commit to the whole time. And so Trev and I were trying to wrap our minds around it. Costs, everything, so many things to consider, logistics, and when could they come in? When are they there till? But now we've landed on it all, and it's super powerful. We have, I guess I can share bulk of it anyways. We're going to share now, but we have waterfall excursions in the morning with a beautiful breathwork cacao ceremony and sound healing event in the same day, right? And then we have grounding meals prepared by Red Seal Chef for all our meals, who's also a participant in the retreat. So there's so much intention put behind it. We have a Wim Hof experience planned as well. We have mycelium pathways and a nature connection experience. So we will be doing a psilocybin experience by option. It can be a really deep meditation ceremony, or if you want to go deeper, we have professional facilitators there that are going to guide that experience to really help people unlock things within themselves and explore. And, in the breath, it's releasing trauma. It's all sorts of things. So this work is deep. We have peak experiences, peak food, and then deep reflection. And of course, overall, it's a, men's experience. So brotherhood, the connections that are made and the networking and the relationships that will last for a lifetime beyond this is what's incredible. And so we're super excited to bring this kind of new model to everybody, and keep your eyes peeled, because we're releasing all the days. Today really is when we're starting, today, tomorrow. But we wanted to open it up for people to be able to jump in for 1, 2, 3 days if they so choose, if they're local, so they can jump in. Or if you're visiting Costa Rica, which I have one friend that's just found out about it, and he might be able to make it for one. So extremelyconscious.com. And again, follow all of our channels on Instagram. We're at Extremely Conscious as well. And on Facebook, we'll be releasing some of these details, or shoot us a DM. Again, we say this on all our channels, but if you ever have any questions or you ever need support, or just have feedback, please reach out to Trevor or I directly. It's on Instagram at Trevor Turnbull, or for me, it's at The Conscious Creator Coach. And we're here to support the community in any way we can. And lastly, I will say we have a free breathwork experience this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. PST. It is for men, ladies, and anybody. It's open to the public, and it is our gift to the world and whoever wants to arrive to simply learn the basics of breathwork and dive in a beautiful 45-minute experience with us. So, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. And until next part of the journey.
I got two more things. Two more things to say, Mike, real quick. One was another part of the experience is a community service experience that we have set up, as well as surfing here in Tamarindo, which is going to be awesome. And then the second thing is basically kind of leading off of what you just said. So I went for coffee with a guy this morning who I got connected to primarily to network, right, from a business standpoint. But at the same time, my wife had connected with him a few weeks ago, and I knew that he had lost his dad recently. So I knew that going into that conversation that I wanted to connect with him and find out what he was up to and see about, ways we could maybe create something together or whatever. But I made a point to ask him how he was doing about his dad. And he said, it's been tough, but I'm doing okay. He lived a good life, and I know that he'd want me to live my best life. And he had moved down from the States. Him and his wife sold a business back there because he was grinding. 40 employees, very successful. They came here for a slower pace of life. But this was the thing, though, is that he said, I don't want to slow down, though, necessarily. Like, I'm not looking to become a retiree. I still want to create things, and I want to have meaningful conversations. And we sat there for 45 minutes talking about all kinds of stuff, and we just met for the first time. And at the end of that, I think he felt that same connection that you and I did initially, and the same thing that we experienced with all the guys in our inner circle, which is, oh, these are my people. These are the kind of people that I can go and create with. I don't even know who they are, but they don't think with limitations. They don't lead with negativity. They show up with unlimited possibilities, and we just go and create. Where other people might look at it and say, that's crazy, we go, tell me more. And that's what we're up to. So like Mike said, come and join us. And the easiest way is come Saturday. It's free. It's a breathwork session. If you've never done it before, it'll blow your mind. It's really powerful. So, thanks for watching.
Tons of love, everybody.